Mercedes has shuffled its technical team ahead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, with James Allison swapping roles with Mike Elliott in a bid to boost the W14's performance. Mercedes was forced to rethink its W14 concept after it failed to take the fight to Red Bull. But while it says it's now identified the right path for its development, it's also returned Allison to the technical director's chair to oversee the car's transformation. Elliott has been promoted to become Chief Technical Officer, where he will focus on applied tech projects, including the America's Cup collaboration with Ineos Britannia. Mercedes was disappointed to finish 5th and 7th in Bahrain, despite hopes it had learned lessons from its zero-pod concept through the 2022 season, forcing it back to the drawing board. George Russell qualified on the front row in Australia before retiring with an engine failure, while Sir Lewis Hamilton finished 2nd. But work is ongoing to introduce a major upgrade soon. Aston Martin chief Mike Krack says he's under pressure from Lawrence Stroll to win races. With the squad's run of 3 straight podiums to start the season not enough for the Canadian. The Green Squad made a huge step this year to lead the midfield, with its ascent assisted by Mercedes and Ferrari's failures. But Krack says Stroll only has eyes for wins and eventual titles. Obviously, he's happy that we have made a step, Krack said, but this is not enough for his ambitions. The first stage of Aston Martin's new 37,000 square meter facility, which was built at a cost of $200 million, is set to open next month, with its wind tunnel ready for the 2025 car. F1's former director of data systems, Rob Smedley, says that Red Bull is catchable this year, and the squad can definitely be taken on in qualifying, where it doesn't have such an advantage. Red Bull blitzed the first 3 races of 2023, with a race pace advantage thought to be over 0.3 of a second. But Smedley told the sport's official podcast F1 Nation that the season is far from over.
They're catchable, right? They're definitely catchable. In the qualifying sessions that we've seen up to now, they are definitely surmountable. Then in the race, they have a strong car, there's no doubt about that. But again, I don't think that you can look at it and say, oh, it's all over, you know, and they can't be caught.
Smedley, who also worked at Jordan, Ferrari and Williams, took heart from Aston Martin's performance jump this year in leapfrogging top teams Mercedes and the Scuderia on brain power alone, with the Green Squad's major infrastructure yet to come on song.
Aston Martin have done an amazing job, quite frankly. That gives me so much hope and happiness for Formula One, you know, that a team can make that type of step.
Ferrari says it's disappointed that the FIA dismissed its right to review on Carlos Sainz's Australian Grand Prix penalty, but looks forward to broader discussions on improving policing of the sport. Sainz was given a 5-second time penalty for crashing into his countryman, Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso, at the second red flag restart at Albert Park, dropping him from 4th on the road to 12th. But while the squad requested a right to review, it was denied, as there was no significant and relevant new element which was unavailable to the parties seeking the review at the time of the decision concerned. With the case provided by Ferrari, the 2014 Canadian Grand Prix involving Force India ruled irrelevant. Yuki Tsunoda has made his boldest claim yet, stating he sees AlphaTauri team boss Franz Tost like a grandfather, given the honest feedback he provides on the Japanese driver's performance. Tsunoda has faced a rocky road since joining F1 in 2021, with his junior career as compact as he is, but told the sport's official podcast Beyond the Grid that Tost has been someone to look up to.
grandpa. More towards like grandpa maybe. Yeah, but yeah, I think yes, the one he always say to me, the word is like kind of that. Yes, after the race, you know, if I have good race, he's always say you did such a good job, really happy with you or something like that. So you know, each moment I always have kind of feedback from him, which is a good thing. It's just like, you know, if it's bad race, it's good that I hear it was bad.
Preparations for Las Vegas later on this year have been a massive eye-opener for Formula One, according to Silverstone boss Stuart Pringle, with the sport acting as event promoter for the first time. Las Vegas is a dream destination for F1, which it's already billed as the most anticipated Grand Prix in motorsport's history, given the primetime Saturday night start and layout that takes in the Strip. But F1 is finding its feet as a promoter, and the sport hasn't been shy in putting the curly questions to other circuits. Based on the questions we've had from the promotions team, talk about a shopping list, Pringle said. But there's confidence from F1 that it will not fail.
Because we know to run this business, and we know how to make to have the right element to make the right evaluation. And we do believe, without being arrogant, that you know, the request and the Formula One will be something on which, you know, the American fans will love to be involved even more.
Alfa Romeo F1 driver Valtteri Bottas has become an ambassador for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, cementing his ties with Australia. Bottas first attended the festival this year ahead of the Australian Grand Prix and drove a Holden supercar and Alfa Romeo Group A car around a shortened version of the former F1 circuit. Bottas has embraced his inner Australian since going out with Adelaide-born pro-female cyclist Tiffany Cromwell. Red Bull may have had a month off from racing, but it continued to push the boundaries at its Milton Keynes HQ last week, when it used F1 tech to take the age-old skate park to new heights. Red Bull's Applied Technologies department used carbon fiber from F1 to manufacture a lightweight skateball that could be lifted by hot air balloon. The structure was first created, then tested on the ground by the brand's BMX athlete Chris Kyle, who dreamed up the stunt.
The idea first came around 3 years ago, and I was mountain biking with my dogs, just daydreaming because I was pedaling up a horrible climb, anything to take my mind off it, and I thought, wow, I don't know why it popped into my head, but I was like a floating skate park in the sky.
With testing done, it was time to get airborne, 600 meters high, and for Kyle to be lowered into it for the ultimate skate park experience. And he didn't hold back on the tricks, even using the boundary fence. But once the show was done and the adrenaline wore off, the cheering began.
I love the craziness of it. It's completely Red Bull to suspend, you know, a BMX bike unsecured beneath a hot air balloon at 2,000 feet. I'm petrified of heights, so there's no way you would have got me in that. But to see it and you know, to see what Chris did was amazing.
The whole stunt was made into a film titled Don't Look Down, but there was more than just footage in it for Red Bull.
So I think the big learning for Red Bull Advanced Technologies was how to make the bigger carbon components. So typically we're making smaller components that go on cars or bikes, and this was a bigger scale than we're typically used to.
McLaren Jr. Ugo Chukwu has walked away unhurt from a massive start line crash in race 3 at last weekend's Italian F4 round at Imola. Pole sitter Ugo Chukwu stalled on the line, but while most of the pack went around him, he was eventually collected by Andrea Frasinetti, who was tipped onto his side, forcing a red flag, but emerged okay. Italian Nicola Lacorte went on to win race 3 on home soil, but Arvind Lindblad topped the standings, with Ugo Chukwu in third, 21 points down. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.